Hi, everyone. It's great to have you all here. This evening, we have an exciting event planned to learn about stress management. Our guest speaker for this event may look familiar to some of you, as she is our PsyChi social media marketing coordinator and our friend, LaRae Lobdell. Her vast wealth of knowledge on stress management comes from her passion for helping others, her research on the limbic system, and healing of the nervous system. LaRae incorporates holistic modalities into reducing stress and finds this essential in healthy coping strategies. Her undergraduate work at WSU is the foundation for her major in psychology, where she will be aiming for her master's degree in forensic psychology to continue her work in aiding victims of domestic violence and abuse, the family court system, and to help other survivors, children, and juveniles as they navigate through the legal system. Much of this interest and focus on how trauma can activate the onset of physical and psychological disorders and what steps one can take to manage and treat the pain from these damaging events. She enjoys in her spare time Pilates, Tai Chi, holding chickens, collecting eggs, painting watercolors, and homeschooling her 6-year-old. LaRae loves using her creativity and has 25 years of experience as a photographer and marketing consultant. I've gotten the opportunity to know her, and she is a valuable team member of PsyChi, and she shines with her knowledge, compassion, courage, and perseverance and passion. Please welcome LaRae Lobdell.
Thank you so much for that warm introduction, Leah. It's just an honor to be here. And I just want to say thank you to everybody for joining tonight. I mean, it's a Friday night. You guys could be out hanging out with friends, having dinner, happy hour with people, and you chose to be here with me to take care of your own stress management. So I just want to honor you all for being here and taking the time out to give yourself some self-care. It has been a crazy couple weeks. I don't know about you guys, but every time I go out, like run an errand or come back from yoga, it's like people are honking on their horns. Like people are like agitated, and it's like the level of like stress is like up to here on everybody. I don't know if you guys have that experience, but that's what I've just been noticing. And I was thinking about this workshop, how like if we can, manage our own stress, how that can have a ripple effect and reducing the stress of other people. And at least we'll be like one less person out, promoting stress out in the world. So I want to share a quote on the next slide, but while you guys are reading that, I wanted to just talk a little bit about why I chose to do this workshop. My journey of healing my own nervous system and studying the limbic system started about 7 years ago when I left domestic violence. I had been in, my ex was driving, and he had, in an act of domestic violence, he went straight onto a tree in attempts to kill me. And I ended up spending the next 4 months in a hospital. It was ruled domestic violence and vehicular assault. And then while I was in the wheelchair healing, I was also assaulted. After that, I didn't understand what was going on. I was having physiological symptoms as well as psychological anguish, I would say, just trying to understand like why I was there still. I still had hopes that he would be nice. I had hopes that he would change and that he would really love me. So I stayed for way too long. And then when my family stepped in, I had my daughter, and then I realized I kind of took a different look from the outside going, I can't be in this anymore. I have to break this cycle. I have to break the chain of abuse. So I moved up from Florida, back in with my family where I'm at now with my little girl. She was 10 months old. And it was kind of an emergency move. I threw everything into a storage pod, and I packed 7 suitcases, shipped them up to Washington State. I had my daughter on the plane, 10-month-old, myself, my 2 cats in crates. We got here, and then my whole system just crashed as soon as I landed in a safe space. And then I just felt like I was scared all the time. I couldn't understand why. Like if the doorbell rang, I would burst into tears. I would grab my daughter and run into the bathroom and lock it and stay in there just shaking. I didn't understand what was going on the inside, psychologically, like what was going on with my limbic system, what, the high levels of cortisol and adrenaline had damaged my whole nervous system for like so many years. So my aunt stepped in and she started teaching me about essential oils and this thing called the limbic system. And I'm like, okay, I can get this. Like the smell is amazing and it does seem to calm me, but why? Like that's my thing, is like I want to like dissect it and understand it. So that was why the first kind of step into learning about the limbic system and the healing journey. And to be honest, I think it's a journey that will last my entire lifetime. I don't think we'll ever be healed from stress. There's no mitigating around it. It's just a matter of managing it and working with it and moving through it. And that's the only way to get past it. So I want to talk about a couple. So anyway, that's my backstory. And that was like a deep dive from there. So as soon as I started college, I started learning about all of these things. I read all of these books. I read hundreds of books and articles. And as soon as I found psychology at WSU, it was like I was off to the races. And so here we are. So there's just a couple common stresses or couple sources, excuse me, of stress in our everyday life. We have, and like, it's amazing. I look at like what all of us are doing every day, and it's incredible how much we get done and how much we are holding inside of us. So we have expectations of ourselves. We have expectations of our family, friends, work, our religious leaders. We have expectations within our relationships. We have deadlines at work and at school. We have midterms and finals. We have grad school to apply for. We have planning special occasions like birthdays, school, work events. And if anybody has ever had to put on a birthday party for their kid, you know what I mean. It is a ton of work. We have all the holidays, the upcoming holidays. And again, that rounds back to like expectations of family and friends and like getting the right gift and like, and then finances on top of that. We have social media. We're like, oh, all these beautiful people, all these people have it together. Why can't I get my stuff together? What is wrong with me? And like our negative self-talk, we have to process all that's going on in the world, which is, it's a lot to hold right now, to see how much hate the world has and how much, and there's also so many good people trying to make a difference. And it's like constant chaos. And then on top of that, we have grocery shopping, errands, doctor appointments, prepping food, cooking meals, cleanup, laundry, getting kids to school, extracurricular activities, exercise, pets, vets, dealing with illness, losing a job or losing a loved one. And then with families in poverty, they also are single parents. We also have and low income houses. There's also food scarcity. There's homelessness. There's lack of health insurance, childcare, transportation, education, and basic resources, and a deficiency in the support system overall. There's no community. That's a lot. That's what we are all holding every day. And I don't think that we're meant to hold that much amount of stress that much. I think our bodies are made to hold a little, we can hold that much stress within ourselves, but then we need to let it go, because then it can turn into toxic stress. And, like that high octane life, trying to like work through all of that all the time, it turns into toxic stress. And if toxic stress isn't dealt with, it becomes trauma. And trauma is stored in the body, in the fascia and muscle tissues. And the toxic stress and the constant exposure to traumatic events in our lives every day result in a constantly heightened state level of stress and high levels of cortisol, and adrenaline, which eventually suppress the immune system. And that's where illness happens. So let's deep dive in. I want to talk about understanding stress. Like when we talk about, oh, I'm stressed, what really is stress? And for this, I have an awesome brain prop, because everybody in psychology should have one of these. So we're going to do a quick review of the neurology of stress, the perception of stress. The brain perceives a stressor through the senses, such as seeing danger or hearing distressing news. It's a primitive part of our brain, like if we were being chased by a tiger in the jungle. So it activates that perception of stress. It activates the limbic system, which is part of the nervous system. And the limbic system responds in the following way. So the limbic system controls areas of the brain that manage emotional regulation and expression. It comprises of the amygdala, hippocampus, thalamus, hypothalamus, basal ganglia, and cingulate gyrus. Is it gyrus? I always pronounce it incorrectly. The limbic system, that part is in charge of behavior, motivation, long-term memory, and sense of smells. It's linked to the autonomic nervous system, and that's in charge of our heart rate, blood pressure, respiration, digestion, and sexual arousal. So the three main parts I'm going to talk about is the amygdala. Sorry, I can't talk today. Hippocampus and hypothalamus. The amygdala is responsible for processing our emotions. It produces some of the most important transmitters in our body, like GABA and glutamic acid, NMDA, dopamine, and 5-HT. And that regulates the brain and sends distress signals to the brain and body when a stressful, threatening situation occurs. It does this in a natural way of helping the body survive and will trigger the body to fight, flight, or freeze. Now, this is a very primitive response, and it is in all mammals. Then we're going to move on to the hippocampus, and the hippocampus receives these stress signals from the amygdala, and it sends out opposite signals to suppress the amygdala, and so it stops the production of GABA and everything that promotes the parasympathetic nervous system. And then the hypothalamus kicks in, and it will adjust the level of cortisol the body makes, and it sends signals to the adrenal glands to release stress hormones, mainly cortisol and adrenaline. So all of a sudden we see, like a hose that looks like a snake, and we're like, oh my gosh. And like that, the limbic system triggers you that quick. It's like, oh, you think it's a snake, but it's really just a hose. So physiological changes, the hormones trigger fight or flight response, leading to physiological changes like increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, and heightened alertness. The body prepares to confront the perceived threat. So that fight or flight is our sympathetic nervous system. Then we go through cognitive changes. The prefrontal cortex involved in decision-making and reasoning becomes less active during stress. So sometimes you might not make good decisions during stressful situations, and that can potentially impair judgment and problem solving. And we become more reactive in that state as well. And the stress response termination, once the threat subsides, we realize that snake we thought we saw is actually a garden hose. We're like, whew, okay. So the body works to return to its normal state of homeostasis by reducing stress hormone levels and reversing the physiological changes. So that rest and digest is the parasympathetic nervous system. So the kicker is that our limbic system is so primitive, it cannot differentiate between being chased by a tiger in the jungle versus your workshop presenter accidentally saying in a Psych-Hi meeting that the workshop event is on Wednesday instead of the correct day of Friday. Sorry about that, Leah. But it was true. Like you have like a really serious response to that. It was like, oh my gosh, I just totally like stressed out your amygdala. I'm sorry. So we're going to explore some practical tools and strategy to manage stress, to re-regulate our nervous system and reclaim balance and well-being. So first thing we're going to do, we need to address our stress. Is it my stress or is it somebody else's stress? Because I know like when here in my household, I live with my mom and dad and my daughter. And, if one of us is stressed out, like the rest of us feel it. And it's like, because we feel compassion for one another, we feel empathetic, and it's like, we want to help, right? But if it's someone else's stress and we're taking that stress on, that's not good, because we need to detach from their experience, allow them to have their stress. And you need to come and hold space from a centered position so that you can be in a place of centered strength for them. And then you can help them. So you need to let go of other people's stress and just be their rock in that moment. So assess your stress. Is it my stress? Yes, it's my stress. Why am I holding on to this stress? You got to think about it. Why am I holding on to it? Do I like this feeling? What is the core emotion under the stressor? Like, is the stress, do I feel anxiety, panic, frustration, hopelessness, helplessness, depression, freezing? And freezing is a trauma response too. So got to think about that. So for example, me doing this workshop, like, whose idea was that? Mine. How I felt all day today was anxiety and panic. And I was like, all right, just got to get through it. Right. So why? Then you need to ask yourself, am I receiving a negative or positive emotional benefit from this stress? That's where you like go into your brain and go, ooh, I'm my own worst enemy right now. So what is the driving feeling of significant and holding on to this stressor? For me this week, it was like the significance was I'm putting on a workshop. I have a driving sense of significance, being able to present the work that I've worked 7 years on. That's that's why I'm holding on to this stress. And like our culture values production and achievement. So me presenting this adds value. It shows that I am, I achieve something, and that is a valuable thing to society. It's a feeling of significance and importance as well. Like I wanted to impress my fellow college students. I wanted to impress my professors. That's why I was holding on to this stress, because I didn't want to let anybody down. And I also didn't want to fail. But I want that feeling of belonging to my community as well. So I was holding on to a lot of stress for a lot of the wrong reasons. So you need to ask yourself those questions, like, why, am I receiving a negative or positive emotional benefit from this stress that I'm holding on to? And then once you identify that, am I willing to let go of this stressor? Like, can you let it go? Because we hold on to stuff pretty tightly. And then you need to look at yourself and go, what can I give myself to face and work through this stressor now? What are things that we can give ourselves every day? We can give ourselves self-acceptance, bravery, courage, determination, trust, patience, peace, energy, resilience, and forgiveness. And so right now we're going to kind of start some different modalities, but right now I want you guys to each take a moment and set your intention for what you want from this class. And if you want to give yourself self-acceptance, peace, energy, and forgiveness, those are all wonderful qualities you can gift to yourself right now. All right, actively channel your stress. So I love Peter Levine. His work is amazing in researching trauma and the effects it has on the body. But in his book, Waking the Tiger, like if frightening sensations are not given the time and attention they need to move through the body and resolve or dissolve, the individual will continue to be gripped by fear. So his analogy was of a cheetah chasing an impala. So the cheetah chases the impala. The impala cannot outrun the cheetah. The cheetah gets the impala, but doesn't injure it. It just stuns it. And the impala, its natural instinct is to freeze and just lay there. Like it has succumbed to death. It knows it's going to die. And the cheetah's like, oh, you stopped running. And he like walks away for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, the impala, sensing that the danger has left, shakes, just violently shakes. Everything shakes. And what it's doing is, so it shakes everything out. It gets up and it runs away. So it actively channeled its stress. It shook out all that cortisol and adrenaline. And then it was able to react and go into sympathetic nervous system mode and actually run. It fought, or it flighted away basically out of there. It's just like a really cool analogy. So when we say we want to actively channel our stress, what we want to do is like work through that adrenaline and cortisol so we get out of freeze mode and start being proactive about our stress. And so we want to activate the parasympathetic nervous system as well to get out of our stress response. And to do this, we need to stimulate the vagus nerve. And the vagus nerve is the largest and most complex nerve in our body. And vagus in Latin means wandering. And this nerve is the longest nerve in our entire nervous system, and it works intimately with the parasympathetic nervous system, and it runs all the way down on the sides of our neck and down through our body into our organs. So our first exercise that we're going to do is muscle tense and release. If you guys want to do this with me, please do. I'm going to stand up and do it because I feel that's more effective for me. So what you want to do is you want to stand and just come from a centered space and feel your body. Take a deep breath. Where is the stress in my body? Where am I feeling it? For me, I'm feeling it in my shoulders. So what we're going to do is we're going to breathe in, we're going to hold our breath, and then we're going to tense our that part of our body where we feel that tensity building up. And we're going to hold our breath and muscles for 3 seconds. We're going to like clench and hold every muscle we can in that area for as hard as we can. And then we're going to release the breath very suddenly and forcefully let out our breath. So we're going to repeat this 5 or 8 times. We'll probably do just 3, but on your own, if you feel that this is the one that this modality works for you, do it 5 to 8 times until you feel the stress leave your body. So we're going to take a deep breath and hold and release. You don't have to stand up. You can do this in your chair as well. We're going to do it again. Breathe in, hold, and release. And one more time. Breathe in, hold, and release. And then check in with your body. How do you feel now? Do you feel better? Does any of the stress gone? Mine does. My shoulders feel a little bit lighter. So the next one is a breath of joy. I should have just stayed standing. I love this one. I just found this one, discovered this about a month ago. I was at one of my yoga classes, and it was our yoga instructor did a modified version of this. And so I was trying to find the name of what she did, and I found out the full steps to this breath of joy. I think it's so beautiful. But I actually did it today, and it brought me a lot of relaxation. So what you want to do is you're going to raise your hands up, palms up, and you're going to kind of fill your lungs. You're going to take a breath, but it's only going to fill about 1/3 of your lungs. Okay. And then, so we're going to go up, we're going to go out to the side and fill your breath, fill your lungs with about 2/3 of air. We're going to come down. We're going to go all the way up, hands over our head, and fill as much as we can, fill our lungs with air. And then we're going to release and forcefully let out all of our air and all of our muscles on the way down, like almost touching your toes. It's going to be one smooth movement. And you can do this from your chair as well. So go. You want to repeat that about 3 to 5 times. And it's like immediately releases everything. So I don't know if you guys are doing it because I can't see you, but I'll do it again. So if you guys want to do it again, so go. And one more. Right. That one totally like channels the energy out of me. I love that one. So that can be modified from a seating position, and it's really good if you want to, if you can let out one big ha at the end. That ha vibrates the vocal cords, and the vagus nerve runs right through the vocal cords. So you're activating the vagus nerve, which then prompts the parasympathetic nervous system to kick into gear and subsides the sympathetic nervous system. So repeat that up to 9 times. It's not recommended to do more than that because you'll get lightheaded and dizzy and fall over, and we don't want that. All right, the next one is rebounding, aka jiggling. This is so cool. I love this one. So stress and trauma are stored in the muscles and fascia tissue. The limbic system is the garbage disposal of the body, and and movement activates the muscles and fascia, which squeeze the lymphatic vessels, pushing the lymph through the system, getting that garbage out of our system. So rebounding, or bouncing on a mini trampoline or modified standing version, is effective for increasing lymph flow in its up and down motion. So on this, you don't want to wear any tight clothing. You want the extra bits of your body to jiggle. So just be prepared for that. At a moderate pace, you're going to be gently bounce up and down without your feet leaving the floor by bending your knees repeatedly. If you have a mini trampoline, and those of us who don't have a mini trampoline, just imagine as you're gently bouncing up and down, you want that movement as if you were on a mini trampoline. And the point here is to let go of control of your muscles and your body. You want your muscles incredibly relaxed and get your muscles and fascia tissue jiggling, basically. So all that you have to do is this. Stand here and you just go up and down and just jiggle. And what it's doing, it's moving the lymph and everything through your fascia tissues and muscles and releases all the garbage from our lymph. All right. Dancing is another great way to manage your stress. I used to, and by the way, this is the one thing I'm not going to demonstrate because I don't dance. However, I used to dance when I was doing house chores like sweeping, vacuuming, mopping, you know, crank up the music. That's when I lived alone and nobody could watch. So like, yeah, just dance like nobody's watching, you know, crank up the music, get your body moving, and the benefits of knocking out chores while simultaneously releasing your cortisol and adrenaline. All right, next one is deep breathing. Like I said, the vagus nerve passes directly through the vocal cords, and mindful deep breathing from the diaphragm reduces stress through cortisol level regulation. Now, the exhale is more important than the inhale. And that's because breathing out for longer than what you breathe in relaxes your physiological and psychological state. It alters the limbic system areas that control emotions and fear. And breathing out for longer increases your vagal tone, promoting relaxation. And the vagal tone measures the parasympathetic nervous system control over heart rate. So what you want to do is you want to breathe in through your nose for 2 to 4 seconds. And what I recommend, if you're in a really, really heightened, stressful moment, you know, and your heart's tight, you know, you can't breathe, or you're like really nervous, or, you know, or something just really stressful, just breathe for 2 seconds. And then exhale for 4 seconds. But if you're at a place where you can do the inhale for the full 4 seconds, go for it. So you're going to breathe in for 2 to 4 seconds, hold for 5 seconds, and then breathe out of your mouth for 4 to 6 seconds. And then you want to continue doing this for 5 to 20 minutes. So we're just going to do probably like 3 or 4 of these together. So we're going to breathe in, and I'm going to go the full 4. If you can't, that's okay. All right. Take a deep breath in. 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 1, 4, 5, 6. And breathe in again for 4 seconds. 6. So if you keep doing that repeatedly over and over and over, that exhale will really, really help calm you down. Oh, and this, I just discovered this week because I was doing a little bit of research. There is a modified finger breathing option for children because children don't understand mindfulness. They don't have that concept yet. So what you want to do is start you want your index finger on one hand, and this is great for all adults too. So start with your index finger on one hand and then go to the base of the thumb on the other, and inhale going up, exhale going down. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And then you want to go back and do the whole thing again. So inhale, exhale, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out. And what's wonderful about that when you teach kids, it's teaching them self-soothing. And it's also you're activating more of your senses, is a sense of touch as well as your breathing. So the more senses you can incorporate to any of these practices, the better. As we want to activate we want to incorporate all of our senses as much as possible to get back to that mind-body balance. All right, humming bee breath. This was another fun one that I've learned in the last couple of months. And again, going back to our vocal cords, how important they are about stimulating the vagus nerve is so important. Humming produces the lowest stress index compared to physical activity, emotional stress, and sleep. So like humming is like the cat's meow as far as I'm concerned, and lowering stress. When you hum, it releases nitrous oxide in the body, and nitrous oxide is a neurotransmitter that mitigates anger and is an anti-stress. So when you hum, it also resets the complete vagus system. And what we want to do on this next one is we're going to hum like a bumblebee. So you want to sit comfortably, soften into yourself, close your eyes, focus on your inner experience, what's happening now, and you want to breathe slowly. So you want to take a deep breath in, and with one long continuous tone per exhale, hum like a bumblebee. So here we go. Deep breath in and hum. And I totally sound like a bumblebee. I love it. Okay, so there's another version of that. So that's like the simplest way to do it. The next time we're going to do it again, but we're going to press our little our finger to our ears. So that little flap to our ears, we're going to close our ear and then do it again. So go ahead and close your ear and take a deep breath in, and then hum like a bumblebee. Do you guys can you tell the difference on that one? Was there a lot more vibration happening in your body, basically? Now the traditional Bharmari breath in India, they close the ears with the thumb. They put one finger here under the eye, at the base of the nose, and under the chin. And what those are our kind of like our hot spots. And so when you hum this next time using those finger placements, you're going to feel even more vibration. So here, I, bridge of the nose, here. And you don't want to close your nose because you need that for the humming sound. Okay, so take a deep breath in. Did you guys feel a difference on that one? A little bit. So just play around with it. But humming like a bee is said to, like, if you do it every morning, first thing when you wake up, it like resets your vagus system for like, it promotes your body into parasympathetic mode. So that's a good way to start the day. All right. The next one is called the emotional freedom technique, and you guys probably have heard of it. It's called tapping. And it's similar to acupuncture, what it does. And so you can do this anywhere, anytime. It's great for kids as well. So it's similar to acupuncture, as it focuses on the body's meridian points, which are the energy hotspots, restoring balance. It provides immediate relief from anxiety, stress, and the symptoms of burnout. So first you want to do is identify the issue or fear you have. Rate the intensity or level of this problem. Establish a phrase that explains what you are addressing. And what you're going to do is you're going to create this phrase that's going to acknowledge the issue, accept yourself despite the problem, such as, even though I feel nervous about this workshop, I deeply and completely accept myself. And so you want to tap repeatedly on the edge of your palm as you say this sentence. So even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely heal myself. Okay, there's my intention. So now we're going to follow the tapping sequence. We're going to tap on the center of the top of our head. Even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. And on the inside edge of one eyebrow, Even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. Next to the outside of the eye, even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. Bone under the eye, even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. Between your nose and your upper lip, even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. Between your lower lip and your chin, even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. Beneath the collarbones, even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then under one armpit, even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. And then back to the hand, even though I feel nervous, I deeply and completely accept myself. And you want to do that as many times as you need to get through. I included a video on the slide, and everybody can get the PDF, but this video was specifically one that my EMDR therapist gave me when I was really confronting the trauma I had experienced and was working through all of that stress. And she's like, we're going to do some tapping right now. And so it's basically like an emergency, it's an emergency tapping exercise. So it's called Stop a Panic Attack Now, EFT tapping with Julie Schiffman. So it's I've given it to many of my clients who are mitigating, have, gone through domestic violence, are mitigating the family court system. And they're like, their stress level is just like way up to here. And it's like, I've got something for you right now. Do this right now. And every single one of them had said it has helped them. So I highly recommend that one. All right. Another thing we can do to get a hold of our vagus nerve is splash cold water in our face. I hate this one. It's hard to do, but it works really good. And what that does, it activates the diving reflex by plunging our face into icy water for 30 to 60 seconds. It prompts the vagus nerve to slow your heart rate and conserve oxygen. It rapidly alleviates anxiety, panic, stress, inflammation, and improves your mood. You could do a modified version as well, a Ziploc plastic bag filled with ice applied from the scalp all the way to the lips. So you can pull a bag of ice over your face, basically. And then I know a lot of people who like they take their morning showers and then they'll turn the cold water on all the way at the end, and it really like activates their vagus nerve, which is, I've never been that brave. I kind of get it cold, little tepid. All right, the next thing, of course, is writing or journaling. Free writing brings clarity. It helps assess stress. Is this stressor something I have control over? What aspects of my response can I control? Because we might not be able to control other people and the stressor, but we can control our responses. And how can I grow from this experience? What can I learn? How can I do it better next time? So just free write that out. There was a slide I didn't put on there, but I'm going to share it right now. It's a coloring book. So what I would do a lot, I love coloring, and adult coloring books are awesome. What I found like I feel myself feeling guilty for coloring, because it's like I should be studying and not coloring. So I did a hack and I got like a neuroanatomy and anatomy and physiology coloring book. And so I just loved it. So there's that one. And so that was kind of cool when I was taking so it's like I was learning about the human brain and in class, so I'm like, okay, I'm learning this material. So it's kind of a cool hack. Another beautiful one is Netter's neuroscience coloring book. It is gorgeous. And it's a course in itself, like how it explains the anatomy. So those two I really highly recommend. And then get outside in nature. You want to do some grounding, get some good grounding going. Be around animals. Animals are always grounded. They're walking around on 2 or 4 legs. And so, you can give them, your stress basically. And they're like, they'll take it and they get back to grounding. And so that's all good things you can do. I also highly recommend planting flowers and vegetables that encourages bees, because bees are our source of our food. Like if they didn't pollinate our food, we would not have any food in our whole economy. So exercise. you everybody says, oh, exercise. Your doctor says exercise, that will get rid of your depression and stress, and it really does. It does reduce stress, and it reinforces healthy activities and a healthy way of life. Yoga and EMDR therapy go hand in hand when really trying to address stress and trauma. And Bessel van der Kolk talks a lot about that in his book, The Body Keeps the Score. Yoga and EMDR therapy was the only things he found that actually not only treats but heals trauma. And he was one of the first doctors that studied trauma in Vietnam veterans. So he was part of the team that actually coined the term post-traumatic stress disorder. So he's got a lot of knowledge. I highly recommend that book. And then EMDR is the only therapy, if you think about it, that Washington State Family Court System accepts as a treatment that cures PTSD from domestic violence. So those are like things to be aware of. Yoga, Pilates, Tai Chi, just get your body moving. I'm not an exercise person. I hate the gym, but I found a place that is a gym on one side and then a yoga studio on the other. And it's like a wonderful, wonderful community and a place of healing for all of us. This other modality here is just tossing a ball. This is simple. Just toss a ball back and forth with a friend or loved one, your child. And the importance of this is that one of the best things I've learned about healing the limbic system over the last couple of years is to retrain long-term toxic stress by creating new happy memories based on physical activity and a positive relationship. And to do this, we can, to heal trauma involves being a part of a secure community that safeguards and aids the vulnerable people, representing the primal stress response that ensures safety within a group. So if we go back to our analogy of being chased by a tiger in the jungle, what do? You run back to your village and surround yourself with your people. Like that sense of community and belonging is so important to us as human beings. And it is a necessary factor in healing stress and trauma. So simple activity, just bounce a ball back and forth. And what you're doing is it's a physical activity, as well as it starts to get you laughing because silly things happen when you have like a squishy weird ball and you throw it at each other and like it bounces off your head. You start laughing and then all of a sudden your body is making oxytocin. And then you're doing it with a loved one, with a community member. So you're safe. You're telling your body you're safe. And it's like releasing oxytocin. And all of a sudden you're creating new neural pathways and you're getting rid of all the excess cortisol and adrenaline that brings you to a heightened state of sympathetic nervous system. So it's free, can be done in time. It inhibits the sympathetic nervous system while simultaneously stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system as well. You can also do stuff like practice karate moves with like some pads, and you can do anything fun with another person. Just it promotes oxytocin. It like suppresses the sympathetic nervous system. So get out and move with somebody. This next one is, I love this quote by Virginia Satir. We need 4 hugs a day for survival. We need 8 hugs a day for maintenance, and we need 12 hugs a day for growth. That's really profound. And I think about all the people who don't get hugs every day. And so hugs reduce our stress by showing your support, going back to that community. Like, you're part of my community. I love you. You're safe. You're giving support. And hugs release oxytocin, the cuddle hormone produced by the hypothalamus. Thank you, hypothalamus. And it reduces the stress hormone, norepinephrine. I can't talk tonight. Sorry, guys. And then those with a more extensive support system who received hugs regularly in a trial done by Groen, said that those who receive hugs regularly had less severe symptoms of illness. In the study, it showed that warm partner contact between a significant other lowers cardiovascular reactivity. And then partners who held hands for 10 minutes followed by 20-second hug showed lower blood pressure levels. And then a second group of partners who just sat silently for 10 minutes and 20 seconds together So the special secret sauce about this, Roy told me about last night, and I did a little bit of research, is it has to be uncomfortable. The duration of the hug has to be an uncomfortable one. And I'm like, for real? And yes, Roy, you're totally right. It was for real. So I did deep dive a little bit, and the general articles I read online said, I think you were saying 8 to 13 seconds, but the scholarly articles, like I glanced through like a few of them, and they all just kept saying 20 seconds. So I'm going to go with the 20 seconds. I would rather err on being awkward for 20 seconds than shortcoming any oxytocin. Just doing it for 8 seconds. So hug your loved ones, hug a pet, and hug yourself. So this is something I've started to do in yoga, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. Oh no, this is good. So what we are going to do today, you guys, we are going to hug ourselves for 20 seconds. It's gonna get awkward. Okay, so whatever arm you want over, I want you guys to give yourself the biggest hug, and it's okay to swing back and forth. You are your own comfort. This is self-soothing. It feels good. You're giving yourself good touch. Tell yourself, thank you, body. Thank you, body, for being strong and getting me through this week. Thank you, body. And thank yourself. Thank you, self, for showing up tonight and doing self-care. How many seconds has it been? Has it been 20 seconds yet? Is it awkward yet? We have to, Roy was telling me you have to push past the awkward moment. Because like people in our society, like it's not socially, what would you say, Roy? It's like not socially accepted to like hug for this long. So you want to get to the point where you get past the awkward, and then the oxytocin goes in, kicks into gear. Okay. Oh, Roy's dying. I love it. Oh, I love you guys. All right. Oh my goodness, that was awesome. I actually feel good, so much better after hugging myself. That was like the best big hug I gave all day. That was awesome. All right, deep pressure stimulation, weighted blankets. Have any of you guys heard about weighted blankets? I have 2 of them. Weighted blankets, they came about from a woman named Temple Grandin. If you guys aren't familiar with her name, you are probably familiar with her work. She's an animal behaviorist and a master's in animal husbandry. And she's noted for creating the center track restrainer system during the slaughtering process, making it a more humane treatment during that process. And it calms the animals before a slaughter. So it was like this system where and oh, by the way, she's severely autistic as well. And so when she was growing up, like she didn't want to be touched by humans, but it's necessary that we get deep pressure stimulation. So she created this hug machine, a squeeze machine, and it's similar to like what they do for cattle. And you get in, and then she pulls a lever, and it like squeezes her body, and it created a calming effect, and it was deep pressure stimulation, sorry. But what it does is it gave the effect that a human hug would give. And so she created the squeeze machine, and it helped a lot of people. And then from there, people made weighted blankets. You can get them in different weights. This one I got, this actually comes apart in 4 pieces. It's a big, huge square. It's 20 pounds, but I like that it has a lot of zippers because you can wear it while you're working. So like sometimes if I'm stressed, like working on a final paper, the deadline, this weight mimics a hug on my body while I'm working at the computer. It's pretty awesome. And then it has 2 other little pieces that you can have for lap blankets. And then it also, oh my word, this is heavy. Oh, altogether it's 20 pounds, and it's like it's pretty weighty. And then it also turns into a funky vest. Here's this one. So if you need deep pressure stimulation and just like calming, this is just kind of cool to like sit around and watch a movie, and it's like, okay. And it just promotes calmness. It's really nice. Okay, so yeah, so that mimics the human hug for autistic children who don't like to be touched, but still need the same soothing comfort as a hug. So that is all I have for actively channeling your stress. Does anybody have questions? Any questions? That's okay if not. We'll keep
I
going.
I do if nobody else is going to ask them. Is that okay?
Please do.
Okay. Sorry, I took a lot of notes, so bear with me as I flip back through here. Oh, you answered that. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Why does it make me feel suddenly tired to do just the first exercise? Why do I just want to go to sleep afterward?
That's a really good question. I don't know.
Does that happen to everyone or just maybe bartenders?
I mean, yeah, because if you're overloaded on stress, like doing anything active will tax you.
Okay.
So maybe the next section will be on channeling your stress passively. But does anybody have any thoughts on that? I honestly don't have a perfect reason.
I don't have thoughts, but I'm right there with you, Courtney.
okay.
Take like a nap.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you answered this one. Who answered most? Oh, this one. Okay. This one's a silly question, but is my new relationship gonna run if I try to hug him for 20 seconds?
If he does, I say if he does, that's a red flag, girl.
Okay. Okay.
If he can't sit with you through the awkward moments, he's not going to work through a relationship with you.
Okay.
He's not gonna
Perfect.
do the
Thank
work.
you. That's the best advice
That's
I could
the
hear.
best question ever. I love this.
I think that's all from me. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, I say red flag him.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Anybody have any other questions before we move on? Okay, awesome. So our next one is passively channel your stress. And this quote, I love it. There's more to life than increasing its speed. And isn't that the truth, how we feel these days? It's like you just have to keep going and going and going, go, 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 and it just doesn't stop. So let's channel stress passively. Sound therapy, frequencies, vibration, and sound. Besides our bodies being hardwired for sound, our ears are connected to the vagus nerve right behind the ears. The vagus nerve triggers the parasympathetic nervous system, and sound therapy offers various benefits: relaxation, reduces stress levels, improves mood, lowers blood pressure. You get better sleep. You have a more heightened awareness and balanced emotions just from sound. It also contributes to reduce chronic pain, enhance emotional and social development, improve cognitive and motor functioning, improve psychological and psychiatric health, strengthen immune systems, and increased creativity. And that was from Superfoods, one of their studies. It was really cool. So singing bowls. I have a couple with me here. And you guys, you probably all have seen these, and the sound, we tested it last night. The sound doesn't come through the speakers, and I couldn't figure out a way to do it. But basically, these singing bowls have different frequencies and vibrations. Each one is different. And it's when you hold the metal ones, especially if you hold it in your hand, you get the vibrations going all the way up through your body. The sound can get so deafening that it's traveling through your body, and it prompts it helps reset the vagus nerve and prompts the parasympathetic nervous system. And there's a couple links in there to YouTube videos. Singing bowls for positivity from resonance. That's at 432 hertz. And another one was singing bowls for sleep. The frequency 396 is especially a really popular one. If you go to just any YouTube, just put in 396 frequency, and a ton of videos will come up. but that one is to let go of anxiety, worries, deep conscious fears, relaxing sound bath meditation music. And when I first started learning about vibration and frequencies and sound, I shared this with my mom. I'm like, I don't know, this is kind of working for me. Here's this video I found. And my mom has a trouble sleeping every night. So like she'll go to sleep and then she wakes up and she can't get back to sleep. And it's really, really chronic. And it really affects her health. She's getting older. And so I sent her the link to that video and she said she gets to sleep like that. She said when she wakes up, every time she plays that video and she gets back to sleep within 60 seconds. So I haven't like done all the deep diving research on it. All I know is that it works. I've done a little bit. I have some resources that you can go explore on your own later if you want, but that is a wonderful, wonderful thing to do to just help calm your system. Binaural beat exposure. That's an auditory illusion resulting from the brain simultaneously processing two slightly different frequency tones. It offers similar advantages like meditation, including stress reduction, enhanced focus, better sleep and relaxation, improved mood, pain relief, and increased creativity. And studies show from Garcia that exposure to binaural auditory beats reduces anxieties. It's also used in EMDR therapy. And if anybody has tried EMDR therapy, it's on like my therapist and she does this beat and it's like a little blue dot on the screen and goes back and forth. And then it has that binaural beat to it. And you have to wear earbuds or earphones that's directly to the computer because you need the pure sound and it can't go like out from the speaker. So you need the pure sound. And what it's doing as you're following that with your eye and hearing the beat, you're processing your brain and you're creating new neural pathways. So it's a really powerful tool that's used in EMDR therapy. And again, I left a link to EMDR bilateral pulse binaural beats from Topic in there. That's a good one. Hive house therapy. Back to bees. You guys know I love bees. So again, bees use vibration and sound signals to communicate to one another. They are so cool. How they communicate is they wiggle and jiggle in a figure 8. They like find like this like awesome like patch of wildflowers. They go back to the hive and these little girls like they wiggle and jiggle in a circle 8 and they're flapping their wings at the same time, and it's creating micro vibrations. And when you get all of them together, that creates this like incredibly intense like humming effect and vibrational tone. So studies in the I want to say over in Europe, Lithuania I think was the first place. I think it might have been Lithuania, but they created these cool little special lodges. Like it's pretty small, like a tiny house, or not even a tiny house. Like it's just like one little room. And they have basically if you lay down in this hut and you have 1,000 bees humming below you, they create the hives underneath and they have tiny, tiny slits. The bees can't get up, but you get to experience the smells, the heat that they produce, and the vibrations that the bees emit, these micro vibrations, and they reach you passively. So it says there's only a few of them in the United States. And there's 2 people I know of, one in Rochester, the honey store. They're getting it. I talked to the owner. They're putting one in next year. And it's that you can rent out as a therapy. And then one of my yoga instructors, she has her own hives and she's going to get a hive house therapy too. And I think offer that for to rent out to people when they need it. So what happens when you're in these little like hive houses, it restores damaged biofrequencies, balances the nervous system and endocrine system, and it boosts the immune system, improves blood circulation, helps with respiratory issues, emotional state is restored. It's aromatherapy, the antibacterial agents from the plants that they bring in. It's like all of it kind of goes all in all. And then yeah, so it's really cool. And one of the articles I read, if you want to look into it more, it's bee therapy. I think I put the link down there. But then the Ukrainians have claimed it regulates circadian rhythm effectively treats the prostate in men. Kind of interesting. All right, the next thing we can do is meditation. Mindfulness meditation reduces stress by fostering a sense of control. It enhances the psychological well-being, and it's amazing. My mom has a hard time doing meditation because she can't stop her racing brain. She's like, I have too much to think about. She's like, I can't sit still. Like, okay. So it was one of the things I first started working with when I was addressing trauma and healing from domestic violence, was that like I just needed to like calm down. I couldn't breathe. I felt like I was going to die inside. And so I just found my doctor actually prescribed the Calm app to me. He's like, if I could literally write it out on a prescription, I would for you. He's like, get the Calm app, just do it. And it's been such a wonderful, wonderful tool for me. There's sleep stories on there. There's binaural beats. There's everything. There's even sleep stories for kids. It helps my daughter get to sleep. It's awesome. So highly, highly recommend that. Aromatherapy, essential oils. I'm going to bust them out here. If any of you have aromatherapy or essential oils, you probably understand this a lot. They significantly affect the automatic nervous system. They trigger the parasympathetic vagus nerve. You can use it in diffusers. You can use it directly on the skin if it's diluted with like a carrier oil. You can put it in baths, pillow sprays, room sprays, and my favorite oils to reduce anxiety and stress are, there's a doTERRA one called Past Tense that also takes away headaches. I found that citruses really cheer you up and like immediately kind of like snap you out. So lemon, lime, grapefruit, orange, all of those, lemongrass, it's like a very bright, crisp note. And it like kind of like gets you up and like positive right away. One, I love ylang ylang. It really promotes like self-acceptance and self-confidence. And then there's balance. Lavender, of course, is a go-to for everything. And then there's another one, Jody Cohen. She does a lot of essential oils, and she studied trauma and stress, and she came up with a parasympathetic blend. So there's clove, and this is made with clove and lime are the two main ingredients, and that directly affects the vagus nerve. So what you want to do is put a drop or two on the mastoid bone, that bone right behind the ear, and the clove and lime support the vagus nerve, and we put it back here because the vagus nerve runs right back through there. So you just want to do 1 or 2 drops behind each ear and massage it into that mastoid bone. And that's been, I found this within the last year, and that's really, really cool. Okay, so these, I left you guys with some recipes on the slides. We're just going to move through them really, really quick. So that parasympathetic support, the clove oil aids in relieving internal stress and uneasiness. Lime alleviates feelings of nervousness and depression. And I just stepped you through Jody Cohen's original product. And then the next, and there's like some instructions. The next one is Lifesaver. I came up with this one. I actually have it going right here next to my table. It's awesome. It contains black spruce, vetiver, juniper berry, and cinnamon. It's like, it grounds me immediately. I have a grounding blend as well. This one you want to make up in a larger bottle and then dilute it into, just put 5 or 6 drops in a diffuser. And then a restful blend that's similar to doTERRA's Serenity blend. It has lavender, cedarwood, vetiver, ylang ylang, marjoram, all good stuff. And you could do that in a, you could put it in a roller ball if you guys don't know, or one of these. And then, so you put the oils in there, and then you top it off with fractionated coconut oil, and then you can just rub it on your wrist. You put it on your chest or anything like that. And then the last one is Uplifting, similar to doTERRA's Cheer. And that's, again, that like wild orange, ginger, clove, and lemon. So it's like really spicy and like makes you happy. Let's see. Next, talk about tea. I'm sure you guys all love tea as well, but we want to avoid drinks with caffeine. They heighten the sense of restlessness and agitation. Want to stick with herbal blends, chamomile and lavender, things like that. Chamomile has reduces stress. Combined with lavender, they have a high efficacy against stress and anxiety. There's also holy basil. Holy basil is known as it's also called Tulsi, known as the queen of herbs. And on that slide there is my mom's holy basil. She grew out in the garden this summer, and it doesn't taste like normal basil. So it's really interesting, but it is similar. You know, it looks a little similar when you're growing it. It's celebrated for potential to influence both the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, making it an adaptogen. It supports the regulation of the body's response to stress. It restores equilibrium to stress hormones like cortisol. It harmonizes the sympathetic nervous system, the fight or flight response, exhibits calming effects that could substantially influence the parasympathetic nervous system, the rest and digest. And it can also be found in a non-alcoholic tincture form. So if you can grow your own holy basil, like my mom does, and then she dries it and then she'll put it into a tea, make it in a tea. I found that non-alcoholic tincture form is really convenient for me. So I'll put like 10 to 20 drops in my water bottle and drink it throughout the day. And it just keeps me chill all day. It's really wonderful. Next thing we can do is to reduce stress is take a bath. That's pretty easy enough, but add essential oils and Epsom salts. The Epsom salts have magnesium in it, and that produces relaxation. And if you don't have a bathtub, you can also put essential oils in your shower. Just put it like in the corner of your shower. You can put some like on a washcloth and then put it in the corner of the shower, and the steam will activate it. Most important, dealing with stress, you want to reach out for outward support. And because like going back to that community, like we feel safe and we feel connected and we feel protected, and our stress level goes down when we're around other people. And because experiencing anxiety and stress and depression, it's lonely. You feel like you're in it alone. And then, you know, when being chased by a tiger, we need the safety and support of our community. Talk with your doctor, talk with a therapist. Also utilize WSU's Cougar Health Services. They have an awesome mental health department. I have that information there for you. You can call 24/7. And then there's the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You can always call them as well. Another outward support, surround yourself with others, promote positive outlooks in life, experience in life, different age gaps, different perspectives in a supportive way. Connect with a support group where you can interact with others, your friends and family, connect with them, make dinner together, go on a walk together, FaceTime. It's so very important. And also the people you surround yourself, make sure the people that, like Brene Brown says, you know, share with people who've earned the right to hear your story. So not everybody has earned that right, that you might not be safe. So make sure that they are somebody that you can trust. So in closing, another Brene Brown, we don't have to do it alone. We were never meant to. And it's so true. We cannot get through stress. We cannot get through trauma. We cannot heal until we do it with other people and we have our support system. And honestly, like, mitigating stress is about engaging all of our systems. It's not just about getting active and doing our jiggling exercise or humming like a bee or awkward hugging or essential oils. It's about engaging all of it all at once, like not all at once, but you want to do multiple modalities. Stress is, you know, overcoming stress. It's also about forgiving other people, especially, you know, we're going to hurt people, and hurt people, you know, it's like we hurt each other. So it's really important to forgive other people. It's really important to forgive yourself. If you can't forgive yourself, then you can't be at a good space for others. And healing, stress management is a constant coming back to ourselves over and over. It's reconnecting our mind with our bodies, realigning and recentering ourselves. And that place, when we recenter ourselves, that's home, and that's where we should be. So That's it. Any other questions?
Yeah, where did you get your coloring books at?
Oh, let me see. This one, I think this one that I've been working with more, it came off of Amazon. Ah, yes, Shelly, you have it too. I love it.
Yeah,
It is
except I
so-
ordered it and never used it, and now I'm going to
Oh,
use it.
I
Yeah.
love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is rad. This one, I think the Netters one, it is on Amazon, but it was crazy expensive. So I found it on eBay for like $5, $5, $6, when like Amazon was charging like 30. And it's brand new. And it was like another college student that was like, hey, I'm selling these books, like support my college journey. And I'm like, heck yeah, girl.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, and that one, it's beautiful. I mean, it's intense though.
Okay, I do have another question if that's okay.
Yeah, I would love that.
With all of the techniques, let's not say all of them combined, but maybe like the maintenance techniques,
Mhm.
if you only had time for one, what would you engage in? Which would you use essential oils or drink tea, meditate?
What do I engage with? Not would I like what
Yeah,
do I
yeah.
use?
Okay,
What's my
yes.
go-to? I immediately go to my essential oils because it snaps me into parasympathetic right away.
Okay.
It alert for me. That's what works for me. It's like, okay, here's what's going on. Okay, where am I feeling it in my body? Then I can it's like, okay, snap to is kind of my process. And then I go, okay, why am I feeling this way? Well, first of all, where am I feeling it? Okay, I'm feeling shaky. I'm feeling tense here. I'm feeling it in my hip. Okay, what can I do about it? What would feel good to me right now? And then I kind of like step myself through what, it's like right now, what would feel good is a hot bath or a hot shower. What would feel good to me is meditation and just some quiet time, turning off the TV, not being touched by a kid, and just like, I just want quiet and just go lay down. Oh, speaking of, she's right here. You can say hi.
Hi.
So yeah, so it's like, so I'll sometimes it's like, I just don't want noise, or sometimes it's like, I'm just gonna lay on my bed. I know it's the middle of the afternoon. I'm gonna give myself a 20 or 30-minute nap, and I'm gonna listen to singing bowls. Other times like I need to feel something move through me. And so I'll go play the singing bowls with my little one. It's like I'll usually start and then she starts. So we'll get like 3 of them going at once, and it's really fun. And it's like just doing multiple things, layering it. I just kind of follow my instinct. I follow my body of like, what do I feel? What would be good to me right now? And just being really, honestly, being really, really gentle with myself.
How do you get better at recognizing that you're stressed or where your stress is? If you're going constantly.
Yeah, that's a really good question. That's kind of tough. I see it in my physiological state. Like if I get really stressed, if I have a lot of anxiety, my body starts shaking. And that's something that was brought on from the PTSD from domestic violence. Like I just shake all the time. And now I notice like it subsides most of the time. I still shake a lot. But days where it's like really intense, I'm like a leaf, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I need a hug. I'm like, give me a hug. I need a weighted blanket, and then it's
20
like
seconds or more.
well, it's like the weighted blanket also is really nice. I will use that if I'm like extremely stressed. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go lay down, listen to a meditation, and put 20 pounds of pressure on me.
I love that. Okay. So just kind of being more present with myself might help.
Yeah, be
Okay.
present with yourself. Just be really aware of your body, because you'll see it. Your body shows it. The body
Yeah.
keeps the score. Like Bessel van der Kolk's book, the body keeps the score. Trauma and stress are stored in our fascia tissue and our muscle, and it shows up. And so just being body aware.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, of course.
I can always tell if I need to do something if I'm like sleeping with my hands tight, or I wake up with clenched fists, or like, yeah, like, ooh, I gotta de-stress.
Yeah. If your dentist says you need to stop clenching
Yeah.
your teeth at
Yeah.
night,
Yeah.
that's a good sign. What
love
are other ways everybody else finds like that stress produces and shows within yourselves? Do you have shortness of breath?
I think I get panic attacks pretty regularly, so I like carry a lemon around.
Awesome.
So
And then
I
you
just like bite
do you
it.
scratch and sniff.
Oh,
No, I just bite into it. Just bite a lemon because it like shocks me when I
Yeah,
don't have time to. So I'll have like lemon slices in a
I
baggie in my
love
bag.
that. I love that. I'm gonna start doing that because I get anxiety. I fight anxiety attacks as well. I'm gonna thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you for all of this. This has been so
Oh.
enlightening.
Good. I'm glad that it helped a little bit. Like some of it's redundant, like you might already know a bunch of stuff, but it's kind of fun to understand like why our brains respond to stress in different ways.
You are an amazing teacher. Thank you, LaRae.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I knew
for
some
taking
of it, but not all. So it was very informative. I had a comment, my kids' school, they teach 5-finger breathing.
So cool.
With their, like a lot of schools are adopting social emotional learning classes as like, so we have specialists, so it's like art and music, social emotional learning, and they're learning all this, like learning how to meditate, and they're learning how to deep like box breathe or do the 5-finger breathing, and it's
Love
pretty
that.
cool.
I
That's
love that.
amazing.
Yeah, it's so important to teach our kids these tools now. I mean, think of the stress levels where we're at. By the time they're our age, like
Yeah.
we need these tools throughout life.
They sure do. I mean, it's hard enough for adults to regulate our emotions and feelings, and so maybe they'll come out a little more educated as adults and be able to handle it better.
They'll
And
probably-
save the planet.
Yeah, there's a lot on their plate.
Here, we screwed this all up. Can you guys fix it?
Right. If we teach you to meditate, can you guys save the planet? Is that
Well, if anything, it will definitely teach them to be more empathetic people.